Stephen A. Smith, First Take, Big Perk, all together came on today and gave huge compliments towards Caitlin Clark, huge praise, and not only there, they were on Twitter as well, giving love to Caitlin Clark, and people seem to not like it, man.
But she's Caitlin Clark. She put on a show in her old stomping grounds in Iowa versus Brasilia.
Stephen A. Smith just exploded like your uncle at Thanksgiving dinner, but this time it wasn't about LeBron or the Cowboys. Nope, it was all about Caitlin Clark possibly snatching that MVP crown as a rookie. Yep, Stephen A. went full Shakespeare meets ESPN, ranting, raving, and probably sweating through his suit while making the wildest, most entertaining case ever. Buckle up, cuz if Caitlin's not your MVP, yet Stephen A. might just yell you into agreement. Stephen A. Smith is many things: loud, passionate, allergic to silence. But subtle is not one of them. When he bursts into a monologue, it's less of a conversation and more of an auditory earthquake. And this time the earthquake's epicenter, Caitlin Clark, yes. The WNBA's newest walking bucket logo sniper and part-time destroyer of egos has managed to get Mr. Volume Level 100 himself to combust into verbal fireworks, explaining why she might just be the MVP this season.
Including this three-pointer that was deeper than the three she hit when she broke the all-time NCAA scorer record. Big Perk, what are your expectations for Caitlin Clark this season?
Man, Stephen A., she is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially MVP type conversation things. Like, I think she's ready. She know it's her second year. She know what type of physicality it's gonna take. Look like she's always in great shape, never afraid of the moment. Again, we're talking about Caitlin Clark here. The spotlight been on her for years. She's not gonna shy away from it. I expect her to be in the MVP conversation.
Well, let's remember this. Last year, in her rookie campaign, it was immediately after she had gone to the national championship game in the NCAA tournament, and then less than 2 months later, she's got a WNBA season where she started and played all 40 games, finishes a unanimous Rookie of the Year, all WNBA first team, finished 4th in league MVP voting, and then I'm looking at the regular season leading.
All now, let's be honest, Stephen A. doesn't just talk. No, this man performs. He doesn't sit down to discuss basketball. He takes the table hostage, yells rhetorical questions at the furniture, and throws logic around like confetti. And when Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA and started casually pulling up from the zip code next door, you just knew it was only a matter of time before Smith launched into a full-scale theatrical production about her. And boy did he deliver in a glorious caffeinated explosion of syllables, finger jabs, and questionable analogies. Stephen A. declared what we all already knew but were too scared to say out loud. Caitlin Clark might just be that girl MVP level, that the kind of give me the damn ball and get out of the way player who makes seasoned defenders question their life choices and front offices regret every draft pick before her. And yet there he was breaking it down like a man possessed by the basketball gods. You could practically hear the ESPN cameras flinch when he lunged into his hot take with the grace of a rhino doing ballet somewhere between she's a superstar. And it's not just the points. He probably scared a few producers and shattered a microphone, but the message crystal clear is here. She's draining logo threes like they're layups, and she's making defenders look like they're moving in slow motion through peanut butter. That's not an exaggeration. That's just Caitlin Clark's Tuesday. Now, this isn't to say Stephen A. had a sudden epiphany. Let's not pretend the man hasn't been on the Caitlin Clark hype train longer than most of us have known. The WNBA had a 4-point arc in our dreams. He's been championing her like she's the second coming of Steph Curry, with a splash of Diana Taurasi's competitive rage and Sue Bird's court vision, only with better TikTok angles.
What does she mean to women's sports?
I just think that she's elevating the profile of women's sports in a way that most women should deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate. She's a phenomenal player. She's a phenomenal shooter. I call her the Steph Curry of women's basketball. I've been calling her that since last year.
But here's where things really took a turn for the dramatic Smith didn't just casually toss out the idea that Caitlin Clark could be MVP. No, he made it crystal clear that she should be MVP right now, as in why are we even bothering with the usual MVP conversation when we've got a bona fide superstar doing this to professional athletes? It wasn't just a suggestion, it was a proclamation, a bold declaration that echoed through the airwaves with the kind of authority you'd expect from someone who's watched every sport in existence and knows what greatness looks like. Smith's words practically snapped the conversation into another dimension, as if to say, forget waiting, look at what's happening here. The implication was crystal clear. Caitlin Clark didn't show up to merely compete. She showed up to take over. She came to reshape the game, to force people to rethink what it means to dominate at this level. Suddenly, the MVP debate wasn't some abstract, questionable thought for sports nerds. It became a full-blown televised manifesto. It was as if millions of screens were suddenly illuminated with the kind of fiery passion usually reserved for playoff games and political showdowns.
You want to promote the sport. You put that girl up in there, and people were appalled at that notion. That was the subject.
But why stop at MVP? Honestly, that might be underselling it. Let's take a moment to truly absorb the sheer absurdity that is Caitlin Clark's rookie season. This isn't just a promising start, it's a statistical fever dream that has data analysts rocking back and forth in a corner mumbling about efficiency ratings and true shooting percentages. She's putting up points like she's farming VC in a video game, dishing out assists with the precision of a surgeon, and grabbing rebounds like she's got magnets in her hands. And let's not forget the broken ankles. So many defenders now have lifetime appointments with physical therapy thanks to her crossover. She's playing the game like she's got cheat codes enabled, pulling up from the parking lot like it's her birthright. Her range disrespectful, her composure under pressure surgical. You think she was built in a top secret government facility designed to create the perfect basketball player, equal parts Steph Curry, Diana Taurasi, and cold-blooded killer. We're witnessing the kind of rookie campaign that rewrites the rules and torches expectations.
What's crazy is you had Monica McNutt, Andrea, Shanae, all on the panel right before the game, and they had a graphic, an interesting graphic that popped up showing that Caitlin Clark had the best odds to win the MVP this year.
Caitlin Clark isn't just a rising star, she's the kind of force that makes you wonder if the WNBA secretly decided to drop a generational cheat code into the league just to shake things up. She's redefining what a rookie should look like. Most rookies are supposed to struggle a little, maybe get lost in a few defensive rotations, perhaps get sent to the bench after a brutal 2 for 111 shooting night. But Caitlin, no, she shows up, drops 30, hits a buzzer beater, and proceeds to sign autographs for crying children while simultaneously wrecking defensive schemes designed by grown adults with mortgages. Stephen A saw this and did what Stephen A does. He exploded. But let's not forget the real genius behind this moment. It wasn't just that he was praising her, it was how he praised her with the force of a man trying to simultaneously win a debate, cook a Thanksgiving dinner, and conduct a gospel choir about 3 octaves above sane volume. At one point you could swear he was about to levitate.
So let's start with our 2025 WNBA MVP, and that has to go to the one and only Caitlin Clark. You can say I'm glazing, you can say I'm hyping her up too much, but I truly think that this second year for Caitlin Clark is going to be like nothing we have ever seen.
And then, of course, came the inevitable comparisons, because let's face it, Stephen A. Smith can't go 5 minutes without dragging in some legendary name like it's a reflex. He can't control Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, the holy trinity of basketball references. Stephen A. flew through them like he was speed or running through NBA 2K My Team cards, trying to get that perfect lineup. He wasn't missing a beat. You could almost hear him mentally counting the stars as he rattled off the names of basketball icons from every era. But here's the thing, Caitlin Clark didn't need any of that. She wasn't looking to fit into someone else's mold or a legacy. She didn't need to be the next Magic or the next Bird. Caitlin wasn't trying to live up to some mythical standard. She's not the next anybody. No, she's the first Caitlin Clark, and that's more than enough. She's carving out her own path, 1-3 in it at a time, rewriting the game for herself. The comparisons, they're nice, but they're not her story. She's creating her own, and frankly, that's way more exciting.
You got a girl here who's box office in Caitlin Clark. She is box office. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is Caitlin Clark is box office. And we got to get that out the way. And I'll get into all of that a little bit more in just a second because it's very, very important that we point this out. She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. It's what she does.
And while Stephen A. might have been verbally steamrolling his co-hosts and ramming every sports cliche into his declaration of Caitlin's greatness, there is truth buried beneath all that drama. Real truth. Clark isn't just a scorer. She's a floor general, a playmaker, a shot creator, a crowd magnet, and a stat-padding unicorn, all wrapped in a headband and fire. Now, it wouldn't be a Stephen A. rant without some unhinged metaphors. 1 second he's comparing her range to missile systems, the next he's talking about how defenders look like they've stepped into a Caitlin Clark horror movie. And let's face it, he's not wrong. Watching Caitlin Clark play defense on a fast break is like watching someone defuse a bomb with 0.8 seconds left. She's everywhere and nowhere. Blink, and she's already 3 moves ahead of you. By the time defenders realize she's got the ball, she's already posted the highlight clip. And yes, the MVP conversation does require a bit more than just razzle-dazzle. Consistency, leadership, and impact on team success, yada, yada, yada.
Still talking about her. And who's to say they ain't gonna lose again and not win a championship? We're still talking about her. Remember, when Bird and Magic, as phenomenal as they were, the champions that they were, there came a point where despite the greatness of them as individuals and the greatness of their teams collectively with the Hall of Famers they were playing with, we were still talking about Jordan. Before he won the title, Tim, am I lying? Wendy, am I lying? We were talking about him. When's this time? Because we were clamoring for it. And I'm telling you, that's what people, when it comes to women's basketball, are going to be doing with Caitlin Clark, especially.